should be like fully public. Like, what's up? You're in the first moments of our actual real life test.
What's the name?
It's going to be Game Audio Podcast. See what I did there? It's almost like we're doing this live.
Right in front of everyone.
Yeah, that's the channel.
Okay.
And then you go to
Live.
maybe there's one already going. Go to home maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And is that it?
Coming. So it's not streaming.
Isn't it? Is it? Isn't it? Is it?
Oh. Oh wow! That's tricky.
I think it's working.
Yeah, I think it's working.
You did great. Nice work.
Thank you.
Nice work. Hey, it's working.
Hey folks.
Morning. Martin Kavala. Good to have you here.
Jamie, always good to be here.
This is kind of the pre-stream, I guess.
Yeah.
Really just. So how long did it take you to get here?
Just, like in the universe, like when I was born and slowly came away.
Yeah.
No, 20 minutes to walk, maybe.
Easy.
I live at Union Square.
Yeah.
What about you?
Same-ish. Stop for the usual coffee on the way. Worked out good.
That's good.
Yeah. And then I flew just a couple of hours yesterday.
That's nice. I flew a little bit more on Friday. It's,
Yeah.
But it's good. It's fine with flying, like, if you have wireless kind of noise cancelling earbuds, it kind of takes the edge off.
Yeah.
And I'm also, one thing I'm most curious about this year is, of course, seeing the first day where there are usually a few people, and on Friday where it's just 500 people.
It should be quite interesting to see how that pans out.
Same thing with the lights, right? You see like what's that green thing in the sky?
I saw it around the tree. Yeah, it's not like green, but it's nice in the summer. What is that? Position yourselves.
All right, we're going to start this thing.
That concludes our pre-video thing, and now comes the real deal.
Nice. So, word on the street is this is already blasting out to the internet and the wider game audio community. So, if you're not comfortable being on camera, this is the time to say goodbye. Otherwise, we're just trying to capture the lightning here on the ground and share it with folks who are not able to be here. I'm Damien Kaspauer, and I'm joined today by co-host Elvira Bjorkman.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Right.
Thank you. So Elvira is going to be the co-host today, and over the week we'll have different folks joining us for that. A couple of housekeeping things up front. This is something that we have tried to do as part of GDC for a number of years. I started the Game Audio Podcast with Anton Wolfheck in 2009 is what the internet tells me. And it was just a few years later that we started setting microphones around a table during these conversations that would happen in the morning at GDC. Bundle those up in a podcast and again channel them to the wider game audio community to kind of share some of the cool stuff that's happening on the ground from the perspective of the people who are here. And so that's you, and that's what we'll want to hear about. So each day has a kind of format which we'll go through, but it'll stay interactive, it'll stay curious, and everyone's welcome to share their insights. Special thanks going out to the folks who found this space, specifically Megan Fraser in the Game Audio GDC Discord, who threw that together last year and catalyzed around this space and then shared the details. The folks who run the space, John has been super helpful, and Diamond on the, what would you call it? Like security side. She's helping us out this week, so don't get rowdy. And yeah, I guess lastly, I want to thank the 13 folks who donated to support the equipment rental to be able to live stream and carry this forward. So again, 360 live streaming, people can like zoom around and like tune into different people when they're speaking, and really think it could be an interesting way to engage outside of the conference. So with that, the format usually is kind of what we do yesterday. We talk about that for about half an hour, and then we flip it to, oh, what are we doing today? What's exciting? We kind of take a circuitous path to, just kind of pull that out of folks. So when you speak for the first time, if you could say your name, your pronouns, and how you identify in the game development community, that would be awesome. If you can remember, it just helps to set an expectation. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Elvira to give a short introduction to yourself. I could heap platitudes on you or elucidate on your karaoke skills, but I'll let you give a short introduction.
So we'll talk for 30 minutes about my karaoke skills. So I'm Elvira, I'm a music composer and sound designer from Sweden. I'm a part of a duo called Two Feathers. We worked for 10 years, and one of our latest releases was our music and sound for Metal Hellsinger that's nominated at GDC, both at the GAG and the Choice Awards. Yay! So we're very happy about that. And we're celebrating 10 years as well, so we are throwing a karaoke party tomorrow. People can, if they want to join, talk to me after this, and I will send you an invite to the thing.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining as co-host today. So great to have you to help moderate and just guide the discussion. We're going to kick this off with a thing that we usually do called the sync clap. Okay, and this was an olden day technique that we would use to keep all of the multiple recorders in sync, right? A lot of audio folks here, you get it, right? So on the count of 3, we're going to all clap together. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so welcome to the Morning Audio Community Meetup. Who wants to tell us about their journey here today and in somewhat short form, maybe not from the beginning of your life, but...
I've got a portent of positivity and negativity all wrapped up in one. I'm Kenny Young, I'm a sound designer composer. On the way down here, at one of the crossings, there was something I've not seen for about 20 years on the ground, which was a destroyed cassette tape. And you remember that sight of like analog tape, it's like blowing in the breeze. And honestly, it did something really weird to me because I was just like so excited, even though it was like, it's like the negative thing is it's like a bit of plastic littering the world, which is a big problem. But also it just reminded me of like audio stuff, and I was like, that's a sign, it's a sign. So, and I even said to people next to me, I've not seen that for 20 years. And they were like, that's been there for 20 years? Like, no, analog tape. So they thought I was crazy, and I thought they were crazy for thinking that had been there for 20 years and they picked that up. But anyway, that's the story.
Okay, so we'll kick it off with a little nostalgia, a little warm feelings for analog sound, and that's totally appropriate for GDC, absolutely. Good to have you, Kenny. Good to see you again. I'm spoiled by having known Kenny for a lot of years, and so it's always good.
Yeah, it's been 4 years since I've been to GDC. So, and I think this will be my. I came to everyone. It's been my 11th.
Yeah. Cool. Hands up, first time at GDC? Cool. Okay, first time. 5 times or more? Whoa. 10 times or more? Okay. Yeah. I love the way GDC changes over the years the more you navigate, right? It's very dynamic, right?
Speaking of like sounds, I was chasing this. I couldn't like 3 in the morning. I was chasing down this sound that coming through the walls. I couldn't figure out what it was. If it sounded like a phone was ringing, but that vibration thing. And it just kept going for an hour. And I'm like, it's obviously not a phone, but I need to find this sound because it's driving me nuts. And suddenly, it stopped. And I still don't know what it is. But I really wanted to record it as well. I don't have my recorder with me, which is a bummer, because I've walked through, passed by lots of interesting sounds just walking around here.
Yeah.
So if anyone people should run home.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If they live by here.
I hope you find that sound, or at least that it disappears and you never hear it again.
Yeah.
Despite the urge to record it, which is a strong urge. How many folks brought recorders to GDC?
2.
Well, I have my phone. It's Whitney.
Yeah. The best recorder is the one you have with you, right? So okay, good luck.
Yeah. There's usually some kind of meetups where people gather and go around the city and record things,
Historically, there's a thing called Friday Night Foley, which is like the post-GDC traipse through the streets of San Francisco and pound on different things. And I think something that you're saying there is really interesting to me, right? Because we're coming out of, years apart, back together, and it's a question of, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Like, we know what we used to do, or at least some of us know, but that's not a rule. These aren't, things, right? So what will you do this year? What will you establish? What will you pull people together to, create in the moment here at GDC? I think that's a really exciting question for me. And it's not the kind of thing that you can see in the distance. So I'll be excited to hear about it as we go through the week from folks.
Yeah,
as that happens.
opportunities to create new things.
Yeah.
New traditions.
It's true.
That's a good point to bring it up now, to set the intention at the start. Is there things we should pay more attention, or be more present now that we can be present? So, seizing the opportunities. Well, that's my point. I missed being with people in person. And I totally did not follow the rules. I'm Guillaume Renaud. I game audio problem solver at Audio Kinetic.
Cool. Great to have you.
Hello, I'm Jen. I'm a lead producer at UP Games in Toronto. I'm also a freelance audio person. I'm working in audio for radio, TV, film, video games, and 500-year-old vampires. This year, so going to the airport and going to the terminal, it was unexpectedly emotional to see so many video game friends that I was I haven't been able to see you in years. So I feel like I kind of set the intention that what I want to do this year is just reconnect. There's so many people, even just on the flight, and then even just walking around yesterday, there's so many people that I saw that I haven't seen in years that I just admire their work so much, just adore them as people. So I think that's kind of what I'm hoping to do, is just reconnect with those people and spend that time and enjoy that time with them, and then worry a little bit less about some of the more traditional sort of purposes for GDC. Even though I have all the meetings and that's great and I'll do all that stuff, but I'm really trying to fit in as much of those reconnection moments as I can between all of the happenings. Yeah, it's been delightful. It's a delight. So nice to see you too.
It's great to see you, Jen. I'm so glad you came. I can connect with that hugely. The more years you spend, it's that recurring theme of okay, the presentations change. Our knowledge is moving so swiftly in this industry, but what doesn't change, or what changes less, are the people who that you see year after year. And not to say that they don't change, but
We get older.
but we see them in a recurring way, and that's a heartbeat of this conference. I think so as well.
So something, a perspective I always brought is that I obviously meet lots of people in Stockholm and Sweden and have my own game audio community there, and we meet up and drink and so on. But this is the only chance that was before every year, now hopefully every year again, to meet like on a global scale that kind of audio community. I meet like people from everywhere, and I felt like teary-eyed a little bit when I saw you here. I'm like, oh my God, it's actually happening! Just reconnecting and seeing everyone again. So I really, I love that.
Yeah, that's a consistency that you can plan on over your years of attending if you do attend again in the future. So cool. Thanks for folks who are joining around the edges. If you ever need to squish in, there's other chairs, and I don't know how's sound traveling online or way in the back. Can you hear us? Yeah. Okay. Cool. The space is rad. Okay, so how about a couple other folks? Anyone else want to share something about their path to GDC today or arrival? Yeah, go ahead.
My name's Glenn. I guess I run sound teams, but I'm a recordist and sound designer and other things. GDC is like massively important to me because I first came to GDC like a lot of people to try and build a name and a career and a path and that kind of thing. And what I quite quickly have established now that I've been in many years and been in the industry a long time is it's not really about that. It's like I repeatedly come back to GDC because people that I've met here over the years become like actual friends, not just like work colleagues or people outsource things to me or whatever. Like I work in film and in games, and I can tell you that although I love my work in film, the games community is the warmest, kindest community by a long shot, and I've got to a point now where I've been in my career maybe 20 years, and I'm lucky that I get to employ people quite regularly. And I think the pandemic has given me the option now to be able to see that be really successfully employ people remotely in different parts of the world. And as somebody who works across all different disciplines about storytelling effectively, getting to come here and meet different people and add team members to my team that can tell a story from a different part of the world, which I think have been lacking for years, is really quite interesting and inspiring. I think also collaboration is like the key thing these days when you're employing people or when you just want to hang around with people. And for me, I might be able to do some clever things about the next generation of people coming through can do cleverer things than I can. And it's about me acknowledging that I don't hold the keys to everything and I should learn from others, and in return I can tell people how to blow stuff up and cars and stuff. So I guess I've come back to GDC just because I really enjoy it, and it's not so much this year for I need work or a job. I just didn't want to miss out on being and things like this. That's what I was
Nice. Thanks for that. I think we're going to. That's going to be a recurring theme in a lot of conversations is how the world changed to support remote working over these last years. That's a mind blower that I expect will be unpacked in a lot of conversations. And great late game perspective or mid game perspective about, again, people. That's such a key piece of this industry, and it does transcend employment. It does transcend paychecks to a certain extent, because you develop these relationships and they mean something.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Ali. I use he, him pronouns, and I am a student at the moment. And I want to say that's super reassuring. So on the way here, there's this pressure. You come from an environment that is, universities inherently, it's pretty competitive. You apply for this thing, you get in, and then you're surrounded by people, everybody's they were the best in their town, and now we're all together, competing, and especially, I go to a jazz school. We're getting vibed at jam sessions, and all that's happening, and we come from this enforced competition as if this is what the world is. Everybody is working to be the best. Everybody is trying to separate themselves from others. Like, I'm better than you at soloing over a Miles Davis tune, something like that. And then the first thing that I saw when I was at GDC was some random person approaching another person in a line and just starting up a conversation. And coming as an outsider to just my first experience in the larger game audio community is that of, I want to talk to you, was so eye-opening. Like, it's really beautiful and it really alleviates so much of the stress. So also hear from your experience that that's how it is. You come here for friends, not for work. And what better place to work than with friends?
What a beautiful rap.
Is it binaural?
Yeah. Or capsule ambisonic.
I'm Eduardo, he, him, and as you want to confirm, I also come from the music world 10 years ago, and to me it was a breath of fresh air coming here. It's the best people, and I don't really see myself ever working in other industries because of it, because I know, first of all, the creative space here is incredible, right? So you can do really anything, so there's no, I don't feel any need to go to other industries because of that, but also I know other industries don't have what games have, which is a bunch of friendly nerds wanting to nerd out with each other, right? So yeah, I'm just happy to be here again. I thought I had quit game audio about 3 years ago, and now I'm getting inspired again. I was a sound designer and I became a game designer, but now I'm getting the itch to just do sound design again. So just being around people, so I'm kind of remembering the good times.
It's kind
So
of funny.
anyways, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah,
No,
'cause
yeah.
I studied game design and then I went from there to game audio because I felt lots of that competition, but in a toxic way, kind of, from the game design community, especially at the student level, where it was kind of ridiculous. It just reached a point where I felt like, I don't know if these people are my people, but I still want to do games, and I always wanted to do music for games, but I thought I couldn't do it. You should never put yourself down like that. But then I thought, like, I scrapped my whole level design portfolio that I had made. I had made a game design portfolio and a level design portfolio, and I was set to get out and get an internship. And I was like, I'll do a sound design portfolio instead, and just started over again, and was very late then to the internship show, but actually managed to land something. And then I found my friends and my people, and I felt when I got into game audio, it was like the first time in my whole life that I felt I actually came home. I had always felt like an outcast in many ways, in many people, and never really understood, but in the game audio community, that's where I felt like, yeah, this is the perfect Venn diagram for me of nerdy in the right spot.
I heard that a couple different times, just like, yeah, we all have this like intense focus, and it's this intersection of creativity and technology, and I think, yeah, when you overlap in those ways with people, well, it's not everyone, I think we know, that you can get down at that level with, but here it just feels easy, so that's pretty exciting. I wonder if I'd shift, so how did people find community over the last 3 years? Social distancing, like the world closed its doors, but of course our screens all opened up, and where did those magic portals take you when the word community is introduced? How did you find people? Yeah, Alex.
I guess I think the biggest one for probably most people my age, but most people in just games in general, is Discord. I think after graduating, because I graduated right at the end of 2020, right when the pandemic hit, basically. And so I've graduated for recording and didn't really know what to do with studios being shut down, so I looked into programming and video games and whatnot, and finding there's a sound design Discord ran by Presley Hines, and the people there are just so helpful and just like warm and wanting to help you, and then eventually got into contact through another Discord server that is just adjacent to something where I said, hey, I like game audio, blah, 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 and then this person's like, oh, I just happen to know a sound designer from Naughty Dog. So he talked with me, and he was maybe the most encouraging person in terms of me thinking, yeah, I can do sound design for video games, even though that wasn't what I was doing whatsoever before. So, you know, I think that's the place where I found most community. It was where I was finding community even prior to that in college, you know, looking for people who are into similar music that I'm into and whatnot. But now it's like I've got my audio programmer one, I've got my, you know, one for getting help with Wise, because that's impossible to figure out on your own. No offense. But, you know.
Call it job security.
But yeah, and that's basically me. I'm still, well, I've gotten commissioned to do a couple things and whatnot, but I'm still freelance and working a full-time job at a bank. But you know, I came here because it's like, what I actually want to do sound design for. Well, it's to get into the game industry, and then make what, and do what for what, you know. And it's like to meet people, and everyone here seems pretty cool so far. You guys are nice. Nice.
It's a long week ahead.
Yeah. Wait until
We'll see how it
to know the real you. Martin?
Yeah, no, I think I come from I've been here like 5-6 times at GDC before, and when the pandemic hit, in Norway we decided that we would just, I guess not unionize, but we would make a community there. Because it's always been a quite small games industry in Norway, like maximum maybe 300 people. But there's a lot of game schools now starting up doing game audio, and a lot of people being very interested in like what interactive sound is. So we took this very casual beer hang up things that was called Game Audio in Norway. We made it into an interest organization to kind of be like a creative and informative hub for anyone who wanted to know something about it, be it producers or game designers or audio designers or students. And we started doing our own conference, GACO, Game Audio Conference in Oslo, which is now the 3rd year we're going to do it. So we got really busy because we couldn't leave Norway, so we had to like find out something to do for our community. But that's been really fun to kind of grow something up like that. It's a lot of inspiration from things like this and Game Sound Con and just these delightful things that before we'd have to travel far to go to, but now we're trying to kind of have people come to us and maybe check out some fjords on the way. Oh yeah, I'm Martin Kvale, he, him pronouns. Worked with games for maybe 10 years now, 11.
Cool. Yeah, stirring the pot community-wise, regionally, locationally, right? This is, I hope, and I see lots of tiny communities across the country, across the globe. There's a thing called the Worldwide Game Audio Groups Map. It's a Google Map overlay, and it's just fascinating to see all of the outposts of interactive audio out there, both locationally and then on Discord as well. So hands up, who's on Discord or feels like they engage on Discord?
I've got an account, but I don't engage.
Yeah. Cool. So that was definitely one place where I feel like I found community online. And you could say any of the other social platforms to an extent as well, but certainly Discord has captured that real-time audience for sure.
I always had a hard time engaging in chat and text-based communication. I'm very much of that. Probably because I write like a Bible each time I need to send. I can't do the short form thing. Twitter is a nightmare, but I try. It's like, okay, I sit there for 40 minutes just to write 2 sentences because I had to edit myself in a way. But I found the games industry gathering, in short GIG, that is for the whole games industry. And they started out doing every Friday like a Zoom room roulette. So you join into this bigger Zoom thing, and then you get rouletted into every 20 minutes into a new room with 5 other people in the games industry. And that's what we did each Friday and it was going for 12 or 24 hours, something like that. It was crazy, so we could just, cover the whole globe. And I found lots of game audio people there that I wouldn't have found in the usual game audio community spheres. And from there, I could hey, you should check out these places. And I even found an orchestrator there that we ended up working with later on a project. So it's nice to also engage with these, not only game audio networks, to find your, the game industry in itself. That's where I kind of came back and touched base with everyone, and it was quite nice to just, sit and meet and discuss everything. And they were so interested in audio. I don't know why.
Well, everyone listens to music, or most people listen to music. Well, people with ears, they all hear sound, so we've got that in common. But there's a piece there that I wanted to pull out, and that's, by showing up at something like that, which goes wide across disciplines, wide across the industry, right? You're really showing up as an advocate for audio. And so for people to be interested, for you to be representing and talking about your craft and the skill and what it takes, you're helping to raise the awareness of it in a way that I feel like audio as an unseen art, right, needs representation, in the extreme, because you can't just point at a pixel, you can't just hold up concept art, right? You have to.
There's a talk that I want to go to later this week called something, they game developing together, something, roundtable maybe it was.
Cool.
And I thought that was great. I think it's design and audio together in a roundtable, and that's something I've been longing for, really, to happen more, where designers and audio people, and even more so, I would want to animators and audio people to sit in a room together and discuss that process a little bit. But I'm very excited for that one.
And now that's with the context that you primarily work remotely in your studio with developers who are spread out in places.
We're in 10 different stacks for different companies.
Yep. Hands up, who here is working remotely? Okay, that's a lot of people working remotely. Cool. Who here works in-house or in-house?
In an office, or?
I get in an office. Okay, couple.
So not employment status, but actual physical status.
I guess physical status, yeah. Now who here works?
Not in an apartment.
Maybe that's the. So it's remote, but you're part of a team that's all remote. Is that was most of it for you? Yeah. Okay, I'm splitting the hairs, but I guess how do you maintain a kind of visibility of audio? Like when I used to work in an office with a team at a company, I wear a lot of pink, so I walking around and they see the guy in pink and they're like, yeah, audio, and now I remember. But it's not just that, right? There's other ways to make audio visible when you're a consistent presence in a 9-to-5 at the office kind of way, right? So I'm wondering if anyone has any ways that they're able to, surface the visibility of audio in this kind of remote world. And maybe it's too much to unpack in the moment, but it's a question.
I think one of the most, and this isn't really an audio thing, but one of the things that got taken away by remote work is all those little invisible opportunities to be inserting yourself into a conversation. We often sort of describe that as water cooler chat, but that it's about like those serendipitous moments, which could be in a meeting, it could be in a kitchen, it could be anywhere, but that stuff's gone. And I feel like that's massively negative for development in general, but I was remote working pre-pandemic, and in some ways the teams I'm working with being forced to go remote work actually made that better. So I saw like an upgrade, because all of a sudden everyone else was operating in my world, rather than just being like one of the few people working outside the team. So I actually, even though I feel it's been bad for everyone else, it's actually selfishly been good for me, because I think what the best teams have had to come to terms with is trying to solve that particular problem, to create opportunities for people to talk, almost like the serendipity of the conversation you were having in the roulette sort of dating setup. It's almost like teams should actually do that. Just get people who would otherwise not be talking together to like engage, because otherwise you just rely on your strongest like communication pathways, and that removes all the serendipitous aspect, which is really important for creativity.
Yeah.
Basically.
Boom.
I agree though that everything actually became better.
Yes.
Because now everyone is in these Slack channels, and it's so much easier to like pinpoint, okay, I can just like write this person, it's not, and they don't feel like anymore. It's just like very easy to set that like the meeting structure, the sync structures for remote work is now there. You can just assume that you will be able to sync the projects through VPN and stuff like that, instead of instead of having that like 10 years ago that felt like maybe one or two people in our office have that, but not us. You have to go here.
Yeah, I want to underline that. Like, there are no excuses not to push that pipeline right to the desktop of someone today. Like, that went away overnight, and I can tell you, as someone who was working freelance up to that point, like, that was the hardest lift when you were trying to help a company out. Like, hey, I just want to help you out. And they're like, nah, see, the thing is, you're going to fly here, we're going to put you in a hotel for 3 months away from your family, and you're going to throw down, and it's going to be cool. And I'm like, I got a rig, I could do this. Like, nah, it's cool. Not cool. So there's no excuses for that anymore. And I love the way that just evaporated overnight.
Suddenly, no problem.
Okay, it was a little harder than that, but cool. Any other insights in the back about working remote? How do you bridge the gap?
We got one over here.
Oh yeah, cool.
I think working remotely is better.
Yeah.
All my gear, all my particular space, my particular tools, I'm happy with my phone, that's all day, anybody I want, I can do it. Meetings over Zoom are much more focused, focusing on what the problem is, and the thing, and log off and get to work. I don't have to spend a bunch of time at the water cooler, or go to lunch with people I don't really like that much. It's like it's a much, at least for audio. I don't know how it is for programming graphics or the rest of it. But for audio, I'll never work non-remotely again. Now there's certain things that would be nice to have in house, like a nice, better room with Atmos array and that kind of stuff. But it's a perfect world. Yeah, perfect world. And certainly I don't have any problem working in-house because I moved forward to work in I hate Florida so much here. But in general, I think it's a better way to be here.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Pablo, PM, radio programmer. I just wanted to jump on that because I feel the opposite. I hated not having the water cooler conversations and only doing like super focused meetings where you kind of burn out at the end of the day after like meeting after meeting. And what I find cool is that what we found is greater diversity in the work habits. because in our same team we have some people working full remote, some people working hybrid, some people like me going every day to the office because I like it. And more than having found that one perfect way of work, we have found that everyone has their way of working. And now companies are, by having been forced, are now ready, some of them, to adapt and being like, well, what do you want as an employee? What will make you the most creative and the most efficient? And let's work towards that.
I think it's also introverted. I'm very introverted. I always have to make myself go out and do things that are so good that I wouldn't go out, see people. But now that's the way, and I can be as introverted as I like. But at the same time, I work with some people who are major extroverts. Like the only thing they do is live to hang out with people. They're going to touch they do not have.
Yeah, so the idea of introvert versus extrovert, what a person needs or how they thrive, and kind of the hybrid life that enables people to make those choices, right? That feels like when it's working well, people can choose their own adventure in a way that is as, if not more productive than it was in the past when we were all kind of forced into one way of working together amidst the diversity of our, just experience, right?
Yeah. Hi, again. So actually we spent a lot of time, our leadership team spent a lot of time working on sort of giving people access to more skills to be able to work remotely. So everybody is remote. We do have like international team members. So we did things like, 4 hours, whatever. We actually a year ago implemented a 4-day work week. So you do Monday to Thursday. Fantastic, big fan. But like as the producer, I was like, okay, we got to make sure that we can do that. So we had to go in and like restructure the way the meetings happen. No more of these like default 30-minute meetings. That's garbage. Don't do that. Like you have a 15-minute meeting. If you can't figure it out, then it just means that you're not ready to make like the next sort of, you know what I mean? And then it was stuff like working on getting people on board with like just getting better at like async communication. So none of that like, hey, message that just like lives there in Slack or Discord or whatever, and you're like, this is not useful to me. I would like all of the context so that when I read the information I have it all. So stuff like that, we worked really hard, and I worked really hard on just giving people like the tool set, the skill set, and just like reframing it to be like, if you're engaging with somebody, you kind of need to give them more information now. You can't really do what you used to do, where you like see somebody somewhere in the kitchen or water cooler or whatever. And I think actually going down to the 4-day work week, people sort of had to reprioritize their time so that they didn't actually have to work on Fridays or late, like we don't really do crunch or overtime or anything. So it meant that the communication became more like pointed and it was a bit more direct. So that was also a problem because then it was all very focused and you just had like very intense conversation, meeting information. So then we started implementing sort of a bit of a roulette thing at work where you would pair up with somebody who you don't usually work with and you'd have like a kind of 10-15 minute sort of like intro conversation. And then, you might continue some of those conversations through Slack or whatever. So it was funny because it was like at first it was okay, it has to be really, all the information needs to be really direct and like everything needs to be really focused. And then it was like, wait, that's a problem. Okay, let's try to resolve it by like adding a little bit more of that. But then also making sure that people are still using that focus when they're messaging, because a lot of the communication now is async, just because of the nature of the world and just like having international employees. So it was like we ran the gamut, man. We did all of the things, but it's working out. And I said we've been 4-day for a year.
Cool.
Yeah.
Congrats. Did you get back the water cooler kind of
a
stickiness?
little bit. We do try like I said, we do that. You'll pair up with somebody. We call it donut chat. It's like an app that you can use Slack. It's called donut chat. So we'll sync with people that way. We try to do like as many events as we can. Sort of like, in the beginning it was all like escape rooms, and eventually people were like, I don't want to do another virtual escape room. We'll do something else. So we've done like terrarium building where we like send a kit to everybody's house, and then we do like a virtual, like events, and we have an instructor, and we make these little terrariums. I think the last one we did was like a bubble tea one, so everybody got to pick their flavor. We sent out packages internationally, and then we did like a virtual kind of. So we do try to do those team events, and then include multiple teams. So you might do it with another team that you don't usually work with, and then you get like an hour of like some shifts sometimes. So we're trying really hard.
That's amazing.
To try to make that work.
Yeah.
But it's difficult. It's really hard. But we're trying.
Cool.
We're trying.
Congrats on that.
Yeah.
I have a hand over here.
Yeah, hi, I'm Hans from Denmark, sound designer. I used to work in-house in a big open office where everybody was in an open office, except for me who was behind closed doors so it makes noise. I think that was the problem, that everybody was communicating verbally and was having fun, and I was forgotten all the time. When there was a cake and beer or something, I was often forgotten, even the alarm was set on. And I tried to wear pink, it didn't work. I think now I'm working remotely, and everybody is. So that means everybody's having a select time. Equal to the rest of the team. So before it was very unequal. I was an isolated satellite, and now I think it's more together. So I think remote work is definitely done good for game work.
Something I've noticed with that is also like lots of the times the teams have show and tells and stuff like that, and it's hard as a freelance remote worker before all of this to join in on those if you're not going to go there physically and then maybe present your stuff, but maybe you're in a whole other city or even another country, so it can be quite hard. But it's been very nice to be able to join in on those much more now and actually showcase our things as well together with the whole team, and it made us more integrated into the whole thing, even though we're contractors, to monthly or bi-monthly kind of go to these show and tells or be invited to those, and now they have a setup because everyone is online from remote, so it's been working quite well.
Well, and they're probably listening more acutely than they would in a conference room with like shitty speakers on the refrigerator or like barely a speaker coming out of the projector, whatever the. I'm not saying that there aren't some studios with some fancy setups, but you just can't always count on it in my experience.
Yeah.
But now they get like, audio at their desktop in their environment, in an environment that they're used to, and I think we can all identify with how important it is to know your system, right? So now you get that confirmation bias of their of what they know sounds like, and they're hearing your sound with that, and it just probably sounds better. I think. So,
For what, especially what you were saying, to the extent also you, Hans, is that I'm kind of hearing that there's been a trend towards greater inclusivity of like a wide array of working elements. So we're talking about how you communicate, how you like to work. And I wonder if that's been a trend for everybody. Has everybody experienced over the past 3 years like an improvement in the community of your workplace, in the community of how you work, whether that's within an office, outside an office, by yourself? Has that just been a general trend, or?
a little bit, but I also heard, some
Right.
some impacts that were not as ideal. So I think there's.
We made it work afterwards. Like,
Okay.
We had 3 months of lockdown, then everyone went back to the studio. Willingly.
I feel it's been a bit more inclusive in a way, because you can be more behind, like, you don't have to be the loudest voice in a room or be like that presence. Your height doesn't matter, that I'm shorter than everyone else and then maybe they don't trust me as much because I'm blonde, stuff like that. In technical questions, even though I'm probably the one who knows the best about tech audio in that room. So it's going to be, I feel like I've been listened more to these last 3 years, but maybe I'm biased because then I've also got more the experience and the titles and stuff, the portfolio kind of grew more. but I feel like it's easier to find different communities and not only go through the back door. I can actually now go through the front door of something a little bit more and get invited like into different spaces. You don't have to find that one person that might open the door for you. But that's just my vibe about this whole remote thing and online community, and that it's been growing online more than just the spheres.
Okay, cool. So I'm glad that we unpacked a bit of that. I know it came up early on, and I was like, oh, this is going to be conversation in every hallway, and it probably still will be, but it's cool to get folks' insight on that here. We're going to shift the conversation to talk about today. Like, what's happening? It's Monday. Like, who's going to some of the summits that are happening, presentations that you're fired up for today, parties tonight? Like, where's the meetup? Who's eating lunch behind the carousel? Like, what is happening today? And I'd love to hear from folks who haven't spoken yet, and we're trying to say our name, our pronouns, and what we're up to in the game industry. So, who wants to jump in on that? Okay, otherwise I start picking people random. And that's, you know how that's going to go, right? Okay, cool.
Jason, he, him. I'm going to go through some of the things you recommended
on that guide?
Yeah, on the GDC guide.
Okay, cool.
Some of the summits. I got a note on it. Can't really remember it. It's been a long week.
No, I wrote that guide and I can't remember what it is.
I had that feeling. I was like, hey, do some stuff to do, guys. But yeah, that's about it. So this is some of that stuff. If y'all haven't checked out that guide, it's great. And just being in the Discord is great also. I see you and a couple of friends interacting a lot. You know what I'm saying? My friend Dylan, with Carolina. But yeah, just some of the stuff that you had on the guide.
That's great.
That's about it.
And so you got an all access pass?
No, just audio pass.
Audio pass,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
So
some of the things. Whatever I can get into.
whatever you can get into,
yeah. If y'all have any recommendations, please let me know.
That's one recommendation.
Especially the parties tonight. That's what I don't know about. So
right.
You know that I'd really like to hear some of that.
Keep the ear to the wire. Cool.
That's why I came here.
I'm Ben Keegan. Power Up Audio is doing a roundtable at 10 o'clock this morning. And inviting people to ask any and all questions. So I think it's probably especially useful for freelancers or people trying to get into freelance to ask just, how do you figure out what to charge or, whatever.
Yeah, literally whatever, right? You're talking like years of experience from the Power Up folks, Kevin Regami and his team, and they're just in an AMA situation. They want to hear from people and in the same kind of, conversational spirit, just kind of try to capture and give back what they can.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. That's at 10 o'clock in the somewhere. Okay.
Yeah. I can double check. I think it's south third floor, but I'll double check it here real quick.
Cool.
That was today?
That's today, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Hi, my name is Peter. About the power table thing, I went through microphone listening. I was so stupid. It was one of my best spots ever. And it was in it was the real talk writing thing, but I learned so much from them, so I'm planning my direction going there. I wish I could go again right now. It wasn't not my favorite for conference, like one of my parents, and I've lost a bit of my time. But I am going to a Polish party tonight, which I know nothing about. That's a Polish party, it's a cultural mix. I get to learn about Poland, so why not? And there's also the mix happening tonight.
What's it called?
It's called the mix.
The Mix.
I'm not that sure. I don't know. I'm a very tough life, sorry. But yeah.
Cool, yeah, and those both sound great. And again, the cultural exchange at the Polish party, this is a huge game development community bunch of great developers, and well, party. Sounds great. Thanks, Neha. Good to see you.
A good tip for everyone if you haven't RSVP'd to parties yet, it's probably like not too late, but it's dire time to sit down and do that for the rest of the week, because lots of these parties are RSVP only, so you can't just drop in on them.
Right.
I think that's a good.
Yeah. Well, and if you can't find a party, just make one. I think that's the hottest tip here, is that very quickly a party just means people that you can jive with in a space. So.
Yeah.
And actually, I find I don't go to big parties anymore. A, because I'm old. But B, if there's loud music, what are you even doing there? Like, if you want to dance, go for it. But like, if you can't have a conversation, it's kind of a missed opportunity. So don't feel when you've gone to a party, if you're not feeling it, don't stay because you're like, I gotta take it, I have to here. If it's ruining your ears, get out of there.
To all the future party coordinators, I'm still waiting for the whisper party in Anechoic Chamber. Like, everyone is just like,
But isn't there an event like for over 40-year-old or something? That was about being in a quiet place where you can have discussions? I think I remember.
I have a vague memory of it. But more of that, please.
Yeah, my name's Jocko Keegan. It's fine. And yeah, it's not today, but I wanted to plug. It's called Slug World. It's a party on Thursday, and I think it's over. You got to take the bar over to like it's somewhere like away from the main San Francisco area, but it's. I think it's gonna be like a pretty wide net of people that's gonna be there. It's from 1 to 8 or something that day. I just wanted to plug it. It's more. It seems a little more underground, kind of low key, you know.
Slug World.
Slug World, yeah. It's kind of a strange name, but
okay,
my friends helped me run it.
Yeah, and it's just a chill out zone for folks?
Yeah, it's an outdoor thing. I think there's going to be like, you can, you know, game devs can like bring their laptops and like show games and all this stuff, and food, drinks, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Are there going to be slugs there?
Probably, yeah, maybe outside. Since it's outside, yeah.
Slug petting, I think.
But no slug pellets.
Yeah.
Or salt.
Cool, thanks, John. Cool. All right, other folks, we're capturing the lightning. What else are we doing today?
Alec Egan. Since we're plugging parties, I thought I'd also plug tomorrow Sub-Zero Sound, some good friends of mine who run a game audio company in Australia are doing a bring your own game party tomorrow that I think will be quite awesome. And I believe it's got a bit of an Australian theme to it, or at least the place that they've picked is like a bit Australian.
And what does that mean?
Koalas from what I gather, it's just got like Australian footballs and things on the wall. Okay. I haven't been to the venue, so I don't.
They got Jaffa cakes? What's up?
Maybe, I hope.
We're gonna crack a tinny? Is that what's happening?
If they have stubbies, I would, yeah, that would be great.
What did you say it was called?
Huh?
What was it called? Sorry.
I think it's just called Indie BYOG.
Cool.
I can.
Cool.
I think the Game Audio Discord has like the party list at the top, right? It should be on there, I think.
Great. So Game Audio Discard, if folks are tapped into that magical thing, you can find the link to it on the Drifting Guide to Game Audio GDC that I wrote this year. The invite link is there, along with other suggestions throughout the week if that's your thing. So thank you for that one, and we'll just find you when it's time to party.
Yeah. If you want to know, I can look it up later, so feel free to just come and ask.
A reminder of what I mentioned when we started is that we're throwing a karaoke plus mixer party tomorrow as well, but it's an RSVP only, but you can get that. Talk to me today while I'm here. If you like to karaoke. Otherwise, you can always go to the Death Star with the Thirsty Bear.
Oh yeah, Thirsty Bear's closed.
Oh no! What?
But the Death Star, when you say that, memories. It's basically the bar at the top of the Marriott. Okay, so there's a hotel, it's really close. You go into it, they look at you sideways, and they're like, you don't but you just go right into the elevator and you press the top floor. Yes.
Your ears will pop as you ascend.
Yep.
It's very fast.
All the way to the top, and it's called the Death Star because they have this epic circular window that
It's like
looks out.
Palpatine's throne room.
Yeah. Thank you.
Strike me down. Yeah. It's amazing.
I'm sure they're reenacting that daily. It's now a whole thing. But that's always a good place to land. When it's chill, it's chill. When it's crazy, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm going on a bar crawl this evening, so I probably will end up there. It always ends there.
All roads do tend to end there. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Anyway, for me, it's more like friends this evening, just catching up with people, eating some good food, kind of like that. I'm going to a party called Gig Party for one.
Right.
But I think ours will be closed for that,
Fair.
unfortunately. But that's also an option. To just get some friends, maybe people here, or people you meet around and start speaking of, organizing your own thing. There's nothing that beats just a smaller group of people, kind of.
True.
And that you kind of jive with and just connect better with. That's how I met a lot of people through the GDC and had lots of my favorite memories. Actually, just like, hey, you know what, we're, clicking. Mind to go for a beer later today? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And then we do it.
I love it. Thank you. For me, it's probably badge at some point. Hands up, who's got their badge already? Okay, a few of you, but there's a few still to go, so you can
First thing on the list today.
Can pick up your badge today, and then the only other thing I'm planning is to crash behind the carousel for some lunch. Like, I grab and go from the Whole Foods over here and just find a spot behind the carousel. It's a pretty reliable hang with folks from the community, I find.
Is the Carousel Con going this year? Or?
I have heard
I
positive
believe so.
sentiment around the Carousel Con re-emerging. I don't know if it will be today or tomorrow, but for sure by Wednesday it's going to be happening. You want to tell us about Carousel Con?
Carousel Con? Yeah, it's quite a fun lunch, very fast mini talks, like 10-minute talks that people do. And then you can sit at lunch by the carousel and watch people talk for 10 minutes each, and it's a nice, lovely little thing.
I was reading Matthew's summary. So, he was just giving the guidelines. There's no mic or anything because we would get stopped from doing it. So it's all micro talk, speak loud to the people. But also, if we happen to be 2 people sitting there of game audio, this lunch, it qualifies. It's carousel. You don't need the talks as long as there's game audio people hanging out for lunch. It's carousel.
That said, in the last years before social distancing, it hit a pretty big deal, right? Where folks who were catalyzed by the lightning bolts of knowledge here on the ground would just volunteer to talk about the thing that was really exciting.
And it was don't do a talk you're doing for GDC.
Right.
It's pick another topic.
Yeah. And so this idea that you could just take a small nugget, just a small thought, and share it with the community, right? In the moment. That it's not like you pack your slide deck and you're just going to lay it down. It's just that in this moment there's
more elaborate haiku.
It could just be an elaborate haiku. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so I'll be looking forward to that. That'll be every day during lunch. There's lunch every day. People need to eat, and when Carousel Con happens, it happens.
There's usually not that many audio talks on Mondays, right?
There's a small handful.
Is there even ended? Because the audio summit is tomorrow.
Audio Summit starts tomorrow, and we'll unpack that tomorrow morning here. But today, there's a couple of audio talks sprinkled across the Indie Games Summit. A couple other summits maybe that have interesting things. Again, I wrote the guide. It's in there, I promise.
There's a hand over here.
David Egan, there's a indie summit talk on Sam Soundfall that's like involves a lot of rhythm action, like kind of beat syncing stuff. I don't know if the audio pass gets anything.
It doesn't. I just looked. That's what I was saying. I was like, man, I thought there was more to it.
Well, we have an India pass.
I just looked.
All right. Sorry to hear that. Well, the vault, I guess. Thanks for that. Thank you. Cool. Yeah.
By the way, because I saw some hands being like, this is my first time at GDC, all of the talks are going to be recorded and on the vault, so don't feel FOMO if you miss like the best talk ever. However, the roundtables aren't. So if you have to choose, my go-to is choose roundtables all the time, because these won't be available later.
And that's to let people speak freely without fear of getting fired.
Exactly.
But with the audio pass, you're not having access to the vault, right?
I don't think so.
It's not included indeed. But the vault is worth it, I would say.
Another interesting thing on the audio side, I guess I'll say this out loud, like if you do come out of this and you're like, oh, there's a talk that like was it for this, you can always reach out to GDC and ask them to make that a public talk. Like wow, that one defined the conference for my slice of the industry. Maybe that one could be free instead of locked behind the vault. And I've seen that happen, so.
Yeah, they don't mind good traffic on their YouTube channel.
No, they don't mind. Cool. Okay, so I'm kind of wrapping it up here, and with that, I'm going to start by saying thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for co-hosting today. All the sparkles for you. Okay. Thanks to folks who made it out on Monday for this. It's just getting started. We're going to do this every day, 8 to 9-ish. And it's just going to be like this, right? We're going to unpack what happened. We're going to imagine what happens next together. And through sharing that, I think we all walk away with a richer experience and understanding of what this conference is about for everyone. At least that's the intention. So with that, thanks again for being here. And hope to see you on the streets of San Francisco, if not here again. So thanks so much.
Thank you.